finished as a detective sergeant, but for 14 years while I was on the job, I was in cover, and well, not all of those 14 years, but much of it. And basically my job was to go and infiltrate, to try and catch organised crime groups. That was my mandate. So it wasn't really too much to do with cannabis, because I was mainly after heroin and crack dealers in inner cities, trying to catch the gangsters. But, I mean, the only people the police tend to catch, actually, for cannabis grows is people like John, people like John. They don't actually catch many of the really big factories, because they're run by the same gangsters who sell the heroin and crack. And that's where a lot of people have to do business. So, for people who actually need cannabis for medical reasons, to actually have to go and deal with those people, actually, is a travesty. I mean, don't get me wrong, most of the cannabis dealers are men, they're lovely people. But a lot of the time, actually, for the prices, they are going to people that we don't want to have in control of the drug supplies in this country. So I'm from an organisation now called Law Enforcement Against Prohibition. We've been going internationally, started in the United States since 2002. We've been going, I think, in this country since about 2009, but I've only been with them for a few months. Basically, our organisation believes in the regulation of all drugs, that no drug supply at all should be in the hands of criminals. There's a big variety of reasons for that. Certainly from my point of view, when I was working undercover, I was aware for a very long time that the war on drugs could never be won, and that it was a ridiculous concept. But I was still working undercover, and this might give you a bit of a clue as to why, from a policing point of view, it's still pursued so intensely, and why there's such political pressure from policing to keep the war on drugs in place as it is. As I say, I knew that it was a ridiculous concept, but I still kept working undercover. And the reason is, they would say to me, Neil, we need you to do this job. We've got these gangsters in this city. They're doing this. They're torturing people for drug debts. They are giving people beatings. They are causing this enormous amount of fear. And so, even though I knew drugs should be regulated, still, as a police officer, will you go and catch these bad guys? And that was my mandate, and that's what I wanted to do. So, I did some fairly ethically questionable things, if I'm honest, and this is the kind of thing that goes on every day from policing the war on drugs. I'll just rewind a bit, because most of the people I dealt with were heroin users, but there is a parallel here. There is a parallel that it comes down to people's rights to medicate and be in control of their own bodies. It comes down to basic civil liberty, I think, and break down the whole issue of drugs. As I say, I had more to do with heroin, but there are overlapping issues. I spent many years getting to know drug addicts on the street, and if you spend the time to talk to people and listen to people, that they will open up. And one thing that I realised as the years went on is that most people who were addicted to drugs were addicted because they're in their own some kind of cage. They were, and certainly in the case of heroin, most people were self-medicating at some point. Now this next thing I want to point out shouldn't really come as a great surprise to anybody. Bear with me, I'll get there, it seems a bit abstract. But with all the child sexual abuse scandals that's been coming out, Jimmy Savile, all the different things, people are so shocked by these things that's going on in society. With all this going on, we shouldn't be shocked by the fact that an enormous amount of people who take heroin are actually self-medicating for child sexual abuse. They are trying to deal with their own mental pain. I correspond with a drug counsellor who's been a drug counsellor for 20 years. And he said that in his estimation, around 2/3 of the heroin addicts that he has counselled have been been self-medicating for child sexual abuse. So, but there is no sympathy for these people. Drug users are seen by the establishment ideologically as drug users apart from society, be it cannabis, heroin, whatever it is. They're just seen as outsiders, as less than human in some cases. I mean, I've been in police parade rooms where someone's died of a heroin overdose, and the prejudice has got so into the heart of policing and society that there isn't a sympathetic response in most cases. The response is, well, let's shot them. And so we need to try and change these attitudes. We need to try and bring the freedom of people's control of their own body back to them. So, but just to give you an example, I know I do apologise for talking more about heroin and cannabis, but my history as an undercover cop, that's where my history lies, and I know people probably have an interest in how drugs are policed. There was one job I was asked to do in Northampton. They'd had some organised crime groups move from Birmingham to take control of the drug supply. And the drug supply they were in control of, trying to control, was heroin, cocaine and cannabis. Although you never find their factories. And so I was brought into this job because the two undercover people had already tried to get into this group called the Burger Boys. Now you might have heard, some of the older people might have heard of them because they machine gunned two women outside hairdressers, Letitia Shakespeare and Charmaine Ellis. Yeah. It's just the gunfights they were having. And this is what's going to happen. This is always what's going to happen with prohibition, because brewery bosses don't have these kind of shootouts, do they? You don't control the supply of alcohol with that nowadays. So this gang was moving into Northampton and it was causing some concern. The intelligence they were getting was that this particular gang, the Burger Boys, were using rape as punishment for drug debts, maimings, breaking people's bones, these kind of things. This is the kind of thing that comes from criminal control of drugs. So I was a little bit wary of things by that point, because I'd seen people getting sent to prison who need help. But even so, I still kept going. And I went to join them in this particular operation where two UCs had not managed to get into the Burger Boys. And the reason they hadn't is because, has anyone seen The Wire? Anyone seen The Wire? But even if you haven't, basically the Wire very much is about the fact that policing always has to try and improve its methods, its tactics. So there's always a pushback, because the criminals are always going to know your tactics and learn your tactics. And it's the same with undercover policing. You have to keep being inventive. And so I tended to get put into jobs where you need to be a bit more inventive. And they'd obviously seen through these particular two. So I spoke to the DCI running the job, and he said basically, we've set this job up because of these people, and we need to catch them. And he said, we've got a mandate to go out. You don't need to speak to anyone else. We'll just leave you to it to try and catch these people. So I went into the streets of Northampton and I picked my targets. I spent a couple of days picking my targets. And the people I picked was two big issue sites. And the lovely people called Sue and Tony. They sold big issue to pay for a heroin advert. So I got to know them. I pretended to be a shoplifter. I would give them presents of stuff that I couldn't sell. And I'd just spend time chatting with them, and they would help me get some heroin, basically. So after 2 weeks, I was good friends with them. They were nice, they were generous, kind people. And as I moved forward, they offered to introduce me to the Burger Boys, because theirs was the best deals. I was getting ripped off here and there. And so I went with Tony into this snooker club in Northampton, where what we did on the way there is we worked out